Hey guys, sorry it took me a while to make a new video, but I was optimizing metahumans to use as NPCs, and I actually broke my project multiple times while trying to find the best way to do it. So first thing I recommend is make a backup copy of your project file. And once you have done that, let's go ahead and start. So there is a couple of ways that we could create NPCs. First one would be just download the whole asset from like Sketchfab or any marketplace or anything like that. So if I go to Sketchfab and search for trader, it comes with some of these characters that you can download, and they're already dressed, and some of them look quite nice. But the problem with these are they probably have a different skeletal mesh, so if you wanted to use animations, you would have to retarget them, and then also you can't really customize the clothes they're already wearing. So what I wanted to do in this project is actually give you option to customize everything, so the clothes, the character, and stuff like that. And for that we need to use the Metahuman creator. So in a Quixel bridge, if you open your Quixel bridge, go to Metahumans, and then in here you do have these presets that you can use, or you can create your own. What I recommend doing is either opening one of these or creating your own, but removing all the clothes from the Metahuman. So, you know, remove the top, bottom, and also for the shoes, just give it the flip-flops, because those are easiest ones to remove. And that way your character will always have a body mesh, because sometimes if you import these with the clothes, they don't come with the actual body, only with the hands. And you know, that might be a problem later on when we're trying to create some clothes that actually, you know, showing the whole arms or showing a bit of a belly or something like that. So what I've done is in my metahumans, I have selected one of these ladies, and I remove all the clothes from her, and then just do the same, just create one custom one that you want. I for a change wanted to create a female because my main character is a male, and then add it to your project. It will take a while, but once you have done that, what we can do is go to your metahumans, and in this Kyoko, now I have this BP Kyoko, which I can drag in the vault. Let's open it up as well. So there is the issue with the LODs that, you know, it's flickering and stuff like that. So to fix that, go to LOD sync and change the force LODs to 0. So that will fix the issue, and compile and save. But first what I want to show you is actually going to remove this one. I'm going to play my game, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but I do have my frame rate here. If I just go here to the corner and let it stabilize for a second, so my frame rate is around 116 now. Okay, I do have pretty strong computer, but if I were to place this metahuman here, and that just one, and wait a second, I instantly go down to about 108, which is almost 10 frames per second. Okay, and that is just one metahuman. If I were to create 5 of them, just so we can see it, so let's say you want to use them for traders in a city, so the 5 of them causes my frame rate to drop to 80, which is insane, because that's about 30 frames drop for only 5 metahumans. So to optimize them, what we can do, open it up again. I'm going to dock it here to the project, and then first thing that we can do is change the textures, because metahumans are using 4K or 8K textures for the body, and we don't really need to use those, because, you know, there is not really difference if you turn it down. And to do that, what you can do is select this whole metahuman folder, go to this selection and just check textures. That will find you all of the textures inside the metahuman, and then just Ctrl and A, right click, asset actions, and go to edit selection in property matrix. Now to show you what I mean with the textures is go to build, tools, audit and statistics. Here, instead of primitive stats, check texture stats. And for all of the assets you're currently running in the world, in the game, you do have this, and you can see the current dimensions. So I can already see here is the phase normal, which I'm using for Metahuman, and it is a 8K texture. Okay, you can see it here. All of these are 8Ks, female body, everything. And it doesn't have to be. What I can just do, go to this texture object that we opened, search for maximum. And for maximum texture size, recommended would be 512, but I found out that if I change it to 256, it won't really make a difference. It still looks pretty much the same, and it runs much better. So I'm going to change mine to 256. Just make sure you do it same with as in the bytes is always power of 2, so even numbers, not odd ones. And also you want to do, you know, 16, 32, 64 and so on. So compile and save it. No, just save it, there is no compile. That will take a while because it's quite a lot of textures. And once you have done that, you can see that on the textures, nothing much change. Maybe they're a little bit, you know, just a bit blurry, but I haven't noticed anything. One other thing that's changed is my Metahuman as well, but I don't really see a difference, you know, and my textures are now only 256. And also when I just let it run here, it improves only slightly. It's plus 80 sometimes. So that's one fix. So now we're not running 8K textures on these Metahumans. Now, second thing we can do is the worst part of the Metahuman is the hair. And there is few things that you can change. For example, on the hair itself, you do have these multiple strands that are running all the time, the generating shadow, and there's quite a lot of them, a lot of physics involved. What we could do is turn off simulating physics like we did for our Metahuman. So in the hair itself, go to this hair, for me it's afro curly, groom asset basically, open it up, and then if you go to these cards and search simulate, you got here the simulate physics and the solver settings, enable simulation, so you just turn it off. Be careful, don't try to play with these other indexes that you had here, because it will just generally crash your engine. I've tried multiple times and stuff, so I tested it out. Just literally just disable this first one or enable it if you want it back on. But I'll disable the simulation so the hair won't move. And another thing is you could also turn off the shadow for the hair. So in your Metahuman you could just search for shadow and cast shadow, you turn it off for each of these. With this hair is fine because they are quite thick, but for some of the hair that are like close to the scalp, you can see that they have a little bit of a bald patch when you remove a shadow, so it wouldn't work. So this cast shadow is not always recommended. So I'm just going to turn it back on. But you know, that is one option. And now the biggest one here is we can play with the LOD settings. So if you open these LODs, you can change these min LODs, increase the value, and it will decrease the quality of the whole face and everything else. So let me give you an example. On you won't see any change on like 1, 2, and 3. So this is 2. The hair changed a little bit. On 3, it will just be a little bit more static. 4, you still really can't see anything. So we could keep it on 4, and the hair looks pretty good still. But if you change it to 5, so lower quality, it goes, you know, the hair goes suddenly like quite square. If you change it to 6, you got like a San Andreas GTA, the old game, you know, quality. And then if you change it to 7, this is like Gothic 1, you know, like really square. But let me show you how that works. Is if you compile and save it on this quality and go back to Arena. Now I move close to this Metahuman. my frame rate shoots up to about 105, 106 now, 107, 107. So that's about 1, maybe 2 frames per metahuman, which is not that bad, but obviously, you know, this hair don't look great, or the face or anything like that. So what we could do is keep it at 4, which the hair looks still nice, face looks alright, and my frame rate is at 100 now. So for 5 metahumans I drop like 10 frame rate maybe, so 2 per metahuman is not terrible. But there is one more fix that we could do, and that is, I'm considering doing it when we do a trader video, that either we will just be equipping some helmets as well, or like some basic hair that doesn't have that much, you know, strands and stuff like that. Or what we can do is completely remove this part, so from the eyelashes to beard, and then just download some of the assets on Sketchfab, because again, if you search something here like hair, and there is plenty of assets you can use, like these ones. Some of them don't have textures, but textures are easier to download than the actual hair. These ones, you know, there are a lot of free assets, and you can download multiple ones, and you know, then these ones don't use any strands or anything like that, because it's just a texture. So most of them come with the as a OBJ, not FBX, so you'd have to import them to Blender first and then export them as FBX, which is not very difficult because I showed you how to do it before, so it's the same as with the clothes. But you know, there is a lot of different assets, so I'm really considering if this is going to be the best way. But do let me know how your game runs if you try to keep the LOD with the hair on the number 4. You know, there is probably Unreal is doing some optimization as well, that later on the hair will actually run better, but for now this is probably the best way, just to reduce the LODs. And now even if I had like 10 metahumans, you know, like maybe small city with a lot of traders, we wouldn't be using this for NPCs. Obviously for like crowd we would do something else, but you know, even with 10 metahumans that work, I still got about 91 frame rate. But you know, it is 20 FPS drop, so it's quite considerable. But now what we can do is we can change our trader to metahuman. So in the third person blueprints, NPCs, go to trader, and we need to create here in the mesh the same parts that we have in our player blueprint, which is chest, legs, feet, hands and face. Don't copy it from here, okay? Because it might just cause you some issues. Better if you create it from scratch. So chest, legs, feet, hands and face. Go to trader. Actually go to NPCs. We're going to create it in base NPC first. So add skeletal mesh. Make sure it's a child of the mesh. And I'm going to duplicate these 1, 2, 3, 4 times, so we got 5 of them. Chest, legs, hands, feet, and this one here will be face. And now for the actual mesh, you can just find your metahuman that you just downloaded. For me it's this one, this body here, and then for the face I got Kyoko, this one here. Obviously what we need to do is copy the construction script from the player, so go to construction script, copy this part and do it in base NPC. So we would set leader of the component, which is this mesh here, but just in case I'm going to copy it again. But what I actually wanted to do, this is just the base NPC, so I'm going to remove it from here, the face and chest and mesh. This is just going to be SKM money as it was before. And I'm going to change it on the trader. So here for the mesh, I'm going to get that body. And now face, I'm going to get the face Kyoko. There we go. And now it's connected and everything because we inherited the construction script and set the leader. So now my traders look like this, okay? And what I want to do in next one, you know, I want to be able to dress our NPCs as we want. So either we could use some of these assets from the player, but I'll also probably import some new clothes and show you how to do it. You know, because we don't have to have a separate pieces, we can also import the whole set and just equip it to Metahuman and then make a selection that will be, you know, we can select the customized one. So you don't have to equip every single piece all the time. You can just select which human you want to spawn. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.